Hello there, fellow Monster Madness ghouls and goblins. You're currently hearing the voice of a girl with no name, and it's here with very, very clear intentions to sound the alarm. Before you listen any further, beware that frightful spoilers and deliciously explicit language lie ahead. For once you find yourself in the midst of those telltale bumps in the night and the haunting howls of host laughter and cinematic judgment, there is no turning back. Choose wisely.
Get yourself out now!
I've been ready for this for such a long time.
What are you doing?
It's all right. I can beat that.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Season 3 of Monster Madness. To recap, Season 1...
Sorry. Not sorry.
Whoops.
You're all good. Someone's excited, clearly.
For Season 3.
For Season 3. To recap, Season 1 was Universal Monster movies and modern adaptations. Just a quick note, that's going to scare the shit out of someone when they go to listen.
That's
They're
fine.
Like, oh, okay, it's Erika's intro. It's usually just her until like the last 2 seconds. And just Matt screaming in their ear. Amazing. Okay, so Season 1 was Universal Monster movies and modern adaptations. Last season, we went larger than life and reviewed films with giant monsters. This season, we are taking a different turn. Monsters come in all different shapes and sizes, and even humans can fall into this category. So with that, Season 3 will not only be our longest season thus far, to Matt's delight, but it is also a season entirely dedicated to the horror subgenre of slasher films.
What?
I know.
Poors.
But before we get into our first film, you all know and clearly can tell I am not the only person here. Join with me on each and every episode of Monster Madness. We have our local heroes. We have Daniel Gwynn.
Ooh, I'm a local hero?
You are
Wow.
now. Matt Stein.
If you think you're excited, you should feel these nipples.
And I'm Erika Gwynn, the captain of this sinking ship. So on our first episode of Season 3, we will be tackling what some consider the very first slasher film ever made, 1960's Peeping Tom.
Whoa.
Imagine someone coming towards you who wants to kill you, regardless of consequences.
A madman?
Yes, but he knows it, and you don't. And just to kill you isn't enough for him.
So, Peeping Tom premiered on April 7th, 1960 in the UK. Did you know that?
No, I did not. You just told me.
It is an underrated film. Not just PG-13, but it's underrated.
You mean unrated?
That's what I said. Unrated.
Unrated.
It's unrated.
Okay.
It falls into the genre of thriller, and drama.
And horror.
And horror. And it has a runtime of 1 hour and 41 minutes. Did you know that?
No, because
Now
you
you
just
do.
told me. Well, actually, I did know that because I watched it, and I felt all 1 hour and 41 minutes of that.
But now you know.
I do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry.
Oh yeah.
This film was directed by Michael Powell. The original story and screenplay was written by Leo Marks. It stars Karl-Heinz Baum, or Carl Baum, as some people know him as, Maura Shearer, Anna Maisie, Maxine Audley, and Brenda Bruce. There are more actors, but I just went with the top 5. Some taglines for this film, and as you all know, the older the movie is, it seems like they had about 800 taglines. So let's just sit back, relax, and listen to some of these. Stark terror meets art in a deadly game of cat and mouse. Years ahead of its time and still one of the most disturbing and psychological complex horror films ever made. See it from the beginning. It'll be £2. Shut the door. No!
Wait. One of the taglines was "See it from the beginning." What kind of a monster starts the movie in the middle? Like, yo, let's watch this movie, but I'm gonna skip 45 minutes ahead.
Well, have you ever been to like the movies and all of a sudden someone just walks into the theater about 15 minutes in?
No.
Yeah. You're very right, but I believe also when this came out, they didn't have like a movie start time. I think it just
like on loop
would start when they open. Yeah, and then people would show up, and then they would see the middle, and then they would stay to watch Yeah, I believe I heard that somewhere. If not, it sounded fucking smart.
There it is.
It was just on loop.
Some movies are just some things are on loop in Matt's brain. All right, the next tagline is, do you know what the most frightening thing in the world is? ... Terror. Oh, it's again, terror meets art in a deadly game of cat and mouse. I don't know why they have that twice, but they do. Warning. Don't see Peeping Tom unless you are prepared to see the screaming shock and raw terror in the faces of those marked for death. Ooh. Can you see yourself in this picture? Can you imagine yourself facing terror of a diabolical killer? Can you guess how you'd look? You'll live that kind of excitement, suspense, horror when you watch Peeping Tom. Don't dare tell the ending to anyone. You'll be blamed for the nightmares. What made this the most diabolical murder weapon ever used? An adventure into terror. More horrible than horror. More terrible than terror. Marked for death by Peeping Tom. To look meant danger. To smile meant death. And that was all of them.
They get more confusing.
Yeah,
more and more you say, the more confusing I get.
They weren't smiling.
Well, I mean,
because this whole thing's about fear. Spoiler.
Spoiler alert.
Can you cover my scars?
Smile.
Matt,
I can make the bruises go away.
Oh God, that's so creepy. Don't talk in that voice. Wait, who the hell's doing that? Oh, that's you.
125,000. No, that's not euro. I think it's pound sterling.
There it is. Yeah, because it is a UK film. So 125,000 pounds.
Did you think he was making that noise too?
Yeah, I don't, because like his screen, his mic is right in front of his face, so I can't see if he's moving his lips at a rapid pace.
Ooh.
I'm sorry.
We're back at Cloverfield, guys. All right, so
with those noises, yeah.
Always a good throwback to season 2, because that was probably one of the only good movies that we watched. All right, so
we left on a banger.
We left season 2 on a banger.
Yeah, that was a joke.
Oh, yeah.
Funny,
look, guys, let's just clear some air here. By the end of season 2, we all seemed a little lackluster. Those movies were rough. That's why we decided season 3...
we're going to spice it up a bit.
And enjoy ourselves. Maybe.
And start with a piece of shit.
Oh, you know what, you little shit. Not everything is a piece of shit. Appreciate some art, goddammit. I'm going to poke you in the fucking eye, I swear to God.
I got scolded.
Not really.
It's on tape. It's on tape.
I can cut it out.
If I show up with a fucking eye patch, everyone's going to know why.
No, that is not scolding. All right, so the synopsis for Peeping Tom. In London, Mark Lewis meets Dora, a sex worker covertly filming her with a camera hidden under his coat. Shown from the point of view of the camera viewfinder, he follows the woman into her flat, murders her, and later watches the film in his den. The following morning, Lewis films the police removal of Doris's corpse from her home, posing as a reporter. Okay, so right off the bat, we know 100% who the killer is. We know he's a big old creep, and we know that he likes to film his murders. Kind of different.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know, like, you think about horror movies, you kind of always know who the bad guy is in a sense. Like Dracula, you obviously know Dracula's bad. Frankenstein, not necessarily bad, but you know he's like the creature. This, you legit are in the point of view of the murderer through his viewfinder. So that's different. Interesting stuff.
Two quick things.
Okay.
I remember seeing when you see the guy. I was like, maybe like later on it's really going to be someone else, because movies have basically ruined me, and it's never who you think it is in movies now, but back in the 60s they didn't really do that shit.
True.
The other thing, what I just found out, because I was looking at the Wikipedia page, Mike Patton, who's the singer of Faith No More, who has 85,000 side projects, had a band called Peeping Tom, and he named it that from this movie.
This movie is shockingly popular, and I actually don't know many people that have seen it.
It was my first time.
It's my first time. Same. I have you ever seen it before?
I never even heard of it.
There you go. And that's kind of surprising to me, because like I was looking at like a bunch of different things about this movie, and it is on like a lot of top 100, top 50 like lists, especially in like British horror and all this other stuff. It's very popular. So it's kind of, maybe we just suck and we live under rocks, but you know.
Well, there's just so much shit to fucking watch, and
we're gonna cover it all on this podcast in season 3.
Every movie,
single movie. Look, I cut out some rough ones. Some fall into other seasons that I have in mind. So there's a lot that we cover in this season, but we'll get there. So Lewis is a member of a film crew who aspires to become a filmmaker himself. He also works part-time photographing soft porn pinup pictures of women sold under the counter of a local newsagent's shop. He is a shy, reclusive young man who hardly socializes outside of his workplace. He lives in the house of his late father, renting most of it via an agent while posing as a tenant himself. Helen Stevens, a sweet-natured young woman who lives with her blind mother in the flat below his, befriends him out of curiosity after he has been discovered spying on her 21st birthday party. Big pause.
Nope.
Yeah, like it wasn't like he was walking by the window and he just happened to glance in, everybody saw him, and there was like a little like acknowledging wave. That happens. I fucking get that. People walk by our bay window. Okay, perfect example. We were cleaning the house this weekend. I took all the curtains off our bay window so you could fully see in my house during the day. If someone walked by and we made awkward eye contact, there was a hey, but it's a neighbor. I know them, but they're not like literally like, what you do? Y'all, you got some birthday cake? Like what? You're not.
And he probably filmed it too.
Exactly. Like he was just like full on being a creep, and he has like the deadest pan on his face as he's staring. And there is like a solid 3 seconds where everybody is just silently staring at each other and not like, yo, dude, get the hell out of here. Nothing. Nada. Zip. Everybody's just like, eh.
He didn't even like put his head down like, oops.
There was no shame in his game whatsoever. For someone who's so bashful and reclusive, he literally had no issue getting right up in that window.
I thought he was only bashful with Helen. All the other ladies, he could talk to them fine.
Well, we'll get to that reason in a few beats.
Oh.
So Mark reveals to Helen through home videos taken by his father that as a child, he was used as a guinea pig for his father's psychological experiments on fear and the nervous system. Again, big pause here. This girl comes up to his room with a piece of birthday cake with one singular candle lit on it. I thought, and I said to Daniel when we watched it, I was like, because he's like, why the hell is there a lit birthday candle on? I'm like, because one, she's trying to be sweet. She's also trying to be a little bit flirtatious and like romantic. Like, oh, I brought you a piece of birthday cake. We already blew out the candles, but I wanted you to be able to blow out this one, or me to be able to blow out this one in front of you. So you're a part of the group, because she notes that he's shy, that he's a little bit awkward. He's a little bit uncomfortable, but she's trying to include him despite his reluctance. This is literally the first conversation that these two ever have, and he gives her like a really odd tour of his apartment, which is like a front room with his bed, his kitchen, yada yada yada. It's kind of small, but then he has a whole back room that's a whole dark room and lab where he watches his fucking films and, you know, pulls his pud or whatever he does while he watches his murder films. The first time you meet a girl, do you share your psychological abusive father videos of screams and terrors and videos and shit? Or do you kind of wait for, is that like a third date thing?
Yeah.
What date do you say like?
No, it's a first date.
It's a first date? Okay. I just want to know where you
just
guys
get
are
it, just get it out there.
Just get it out there.
Just get it out right away.
What about you, Dan? Do you wait, or do you just rip the Band-Aid off and just like, look, I got some fuck up baggage right here.
Oh no, I'd be hiding that shit.
I'm gonna lock that shit down before she finds out how weird I am. And that's the story of our marriage.
You're stuck with me.
Oh.
Boom. Do you like some ice for that burn? So Mark's father would study his son's reaction to various stimuli, such as lizards he put on his bed, and would film the boy in all sorts of situations, even going as far as recording his son's reactions as he sat with his mother on her deathbed. Totally missed that. He kept his son under constant watch and even wired all the rooms so that he could spy on him. Mark's father's studies enhanced his reputation as a renowned psychologist. I did not like that lizard, FYI. I don't really particularly care for fast-moving lizards like that, like iguanas and stuff like that. I would be that little boy. I'd probably be screaming in terror, but that's beside the point. So Mark arranges with Vivian, a stand-in at the studio, to make a film after the set is closed. He then kills her and stuffs her into a prop trunk. The body is discovered later during shooting by Diane, a female cast member who has already antagonized the director by fainting for real at points which are not in the script. The police link the two murders and notice that each victim died with a look of terror on their face. They interview everyone on the set, including Mark, who always keeps his camera running, claiming that he is making a documentary. Oof. I thought this would be the point where Matt tapped out because he's like, did this bitch secretly make me watch a musical? Because I was not expecting like a whole, because this girl Vivian starts dancing. because she's like loosening up, or she's just having fun while Mark is setting the stage for their quote unquote film that he's recording for his documentary. As I'm watching it, it's like a solid like 2-3 minutes of her like dancing really well. And I'm like, is she about to like burst out in a song and Matt's just never going to talk to me forever? Because I know how he feels about musicals.
Yeah,
I feel
she's
it coming. Yeah, it was like West Side Story up in that bitch.
It's going.
There it is. So Helen goes out to dinner with Mark. This is after he gets all stabby, even persuading him to leave his camera behind for once, and briefly kisses him once they return. And then he really weirdly doesn't reciprocate the kiss. He kind of leaves his mouth half open, and then he kisses his fucking camera lens, which was like really irksome to me. But anyway, her mother, Mrs. Stevens, finds his behavior peculiar, aware despite her blindness how often Mark looks through Helen's window. Mrs. Stevens is waiting inside Mark's flat after his evening with her daughter. This part made me jump because that was really creepy. I was not expecting her to be standing in the dark.
So is she blind?
She is very aware of her surroundings.
I know. Like, she knows when he's
Right,
watching.
and then she also closes her eyes and walks around.
Yeah.
I thought that was odd.
What?
Okay,
But what'd you guys think of that murder weapon earlier on?
we're getting there, man. Because we don't really know what the murder weapon is yet, do we? No, we do. Yeah, we do,
just
because
saw
of
it.
Vivian. My bad. I mean, it's clever. It's hidden. Who's going to be looking at the tripod? Okay, so the murder weapon is his camera is on a tripod, and on the bottom part, he takes one of the legs off, and it's
like a knife.
It is a knife. It's not like a knife. That is a fucking 6-inch blade. And he pulls up the tripod, so it's literally straight. So it's a spear, basically.
Don't you think it'd be easy to get out of the way of that, though? Like, you just have to dodge the arm.
Here's the thing. Vivian did, in my opinion, did not put up enough of a struggle because honestly, like, she wasn't backed into a corner. Behind her was completely open, and she just what was under her feet was a trunk. That, I would be doing some like ducks and jives, and if someone was coming at me painfully slowly with a knife and like talking in a really creepy voice, like, I'll cover your bruises, or however Matt say.
What is it? ASMR? Is that what it is?
ASMR?
That's it. ASMR. That's how he's talking to her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would just smack that shit out of his hand.
I'll edit out all of your bruises.
And there's the clip for the week. It was so weird. Oh, God. Okay, so where was
What do you think the bruises were? Just her falling all the time?
On
earlier?
the sex worker?
I think someone was beating her.
Yeah, on the sex worker is being abused, yeah.
Then what happened to that other girl that was just like really seductive in the corner, and then she turns and she's got like the gnarly lip?
I think it was a really poorly fashioned cleft lip prosthetic.
But she never comes up in the movie ever again. I thought,
well, I think,
this chick's going to come up again.
Well, no, I think
he was so fascinated.
Yeah, I don't think it had to do with more so his reaction to that type of person, like, because he obviously kills women. I don't want to say flawless beauty, but it was just like this unaltered movie star beauty. He had killed the sex worker who was gorgeous and basically had zero interest in him. She's literally undressing and she's just like, yeah, let's go and do this, get it over with. And then Vivian, he chose it. They don't tell you why he chooses the women that he does, but then he sees that girl with the cleft lip, and just like the imperfection fascinated him, probably because he himself deems everything that he does as imperfection, because he's killing these women to find the perfect light on their face and the terror and all this stuff, and it always winds up with them being dead. He made some comment about that towards the end of the film, and he, like, in the scene coming up that we're talking about right now with Mrs. Stevens, he like flings himself against the wall and he just says it's not good enough, or he missed the opportunity again, so he has to do it again. So he's trying to find something while he's taking these photos of these women in absolute terror.
Do you think he feels fear?
We'll get there in a minute because he did something out of fear, but I mean, obviously he does because his father exploited that his whole childhood. So yeah, he for sure feels fear, but deep conversations, guys. So Mrs. Stevens is aware of how much he's looking through windows and all of his like whereabouts she can hear when he comes home and all this other stuff. Mrs. Stevens is waiting inside Mark's flat after his evening out with her daughter. Unable to wait until she leaves due to his compulsion, he begins screening his latest snuff film with her still in the room. She senses how emotionally disturbed he is and threatens to move, but Mark reassures her that he will never photograph or film Helen, because obviously any person that he films or takes a picture of in that manner winds up dead, and he obviously has true affection for Helen and he does not want anything bad to happen to her.
Aww.
A psychiatrist is called to the set to console Diane, the girl who kept fainting during the scenes where she wasn't supposed to, and then eventually she found the dead body of Vivian in the trunk during a take. He chats with Mark and is familiar with his father's work. The psychiatrist relates to the details of the conversation to the police, noting that Mark has his father's eyes. Mark is tailed by the police to the news agents, where he takes photographs of the pinup model Millie.
What'd you think of him going up that little elevator thing? Or the lift. The lift. He was like, do you know my father?
Yeah, that was a little weird, and everybody around them were like, why are they talking up there? And it wasn't like it was a private conversation either. There was a third dude on the lift with them.
Was there?
Yeah, there totally was.
I could have just said, oh, this is what they were talking about.
Yeah, they're talking about voyeurism. But either way, slightly later, it emerges that Mark has killed Millie before returning home. Helen, who is curious about Mark's films, finally runs one of them. She becomes visibly upset and then frightened when he catches her. Mark reveals that he makes the film so that he can capture the fear of his victims. He has mounted a round mirror atop his camera so that he can capture the reaction of his victims as they see their impending deaths. He points the tripod's knife towards Helen's throat but refuses to kill her. The police arrive and Mark realizes he is cornered. As he had planned from the very beginning, he impales himself on the knife with the camera running, providing the finale for his documentary. The last shot shows Helen crying over Mark's body as the police enter the room. Now there's like a tiny bit of more information that like happens throughout the film, but that is really actually the meat of it. There's some interactions between Mark and Helen because she's writing a children's book about a magic camera, which Mark is slightly excited about, but a little bit weird about because a camera to him is a death weapon, not a magical, device that children can see the future in or whatever her book is about. And that's why she goes into his apartment to give him a copy of the manuscript because she really likes this dude. She's young. She just turned 21. He seems to be a little bit older. She sees that he's quirky, but she's also quirky too. But he's too quirky, man. Too quirky. And she was way too attached to him. Like, she's literally fainting and crying over his body when he literally just confessed, like, oh yeah, all those films, dead bitches. Daniel likes to play the hypothetical game with me all the time because I read about serial killers all the time and watch true crime. He loves to be like, so what would you do if you found out I did this? I'd be like, I turn you into the fucking FBI, like an insane person, and I never talk to you again. Like, what do you expect me to do? Like, try to cover up shit for you?
Right.
Bonnie and Clyde, come on. No. I'm just kidding.
Never.
But hypothetically, though, I do play that game a lot.
You do play the hypothetical game. What would you do if I did this? And it always winds up with 90% of the time.
Because I love your reactions.
Because it's so ridiculous. Yeah. Obviously, I wouldn't be your friend anymore.
I think we're more than friends.
Well, that's literally the bare minimum we would be at that.
Yeah. You fucked up.
But yes, that is Peeping Tom, the meat of it.
Wait, you forgot one little part.
What part did I forget?
The mirror.
What about the mirror?
That's a creepy way to kill somebody, and then they have to watch a mirror closer and closer to their face.
It's very unique. Here's the thing. I was reading a lot about this movie, as I typically do, to prepare for Questions of the Damned and all this other stuff. And I actually thought that this movie was based off of a serial killer that did similar things, but there was no ties whatsoever. I mean, this serial killer was in California in America, and this film came out in the UK, but it was a few years before this movie came out. His name was Harvey Glatman. The Apex and the Abyss actually did a Chasm episode on this if you want to check it out. But he would take, shameless plug, he would take photos of his victims in various states of torture and prior to their deaths and after their deaths. And it was very similar to what Mark was doing to a degree. Like, Harvey Glatman didn't kill women and take pictures as he was killing them, but there is like an infamous picture of one of because he was called the Glamour Girl Killer. She's sitting on a chair, her hands are bound, her feet are bound, I believe, and she has like a gag in her mouth, and she's just looking at him, but he's like off camera. He must have set his camera in front of her, and like there's this big flash, so it's like oversaturated with light, but her face is completely like, she's terrified, obviously, as you would be, but there's no connection from that film to that killer, like how Psycho has a connection to a serial killer. So I thought maybe because these two movies are very big parallels, so I thought, but no, not at all. Surprising. But whatever.
Or maybe you just uncovered it.
Ba-da-da. Heard it here first. But with that, since we have gone through the synopsis of Peeping Tom, we are doing our first game of Questions of the Damned.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
All right, Daniel.
Starting off fresh. 0-0.
Sure. I think actually
Not for long.
I should probably. Ooh, what's going on?
Well, I mean, technically it's true. One of us will win, and it will no longer be 0-0.
Sure. I actually think I'm going to incorporate. I haven't figured them all out yet, but I think I'm actually going to incorporate
Crack cocaine.
That would be a good incentive, but also a couple different games. I have a couple of ideas, a couple suggestions from people. We'll see. I might just randomly throw them at you guys. We'll see.
Who wants to be a horror?
Okay.
What'd you say?
Who wants to be
Me?
a horror?
A horror? I'll take it.
Horror. Didn't think you said that. Horror. Okay, that's
No, that wasn't a good joke.
that.
Nah.
I might leave it in with a womp.
I liked it.
Womp, womp. All right, Daniel. You get the first question.
Okay.
What actress was a contender for the role of
shit.
Vivian? Julie Andrews. She was in Sound of Music. She's the one that the Hills were alive with.
Thanks for the...
I'm trying to help you here.
thanks for the-
Shirley MacLaine. You haven't seen nothing with her in it, I don't think, so I can't even describe anything. Anne Bancroft. She was Mrs. Robinson in The Graduate. Those are your three choices. Julie Andrews, Shirley MacLaine, Anne Bancroft.
I'll go with the first one with the Sound of Music.
Julie Andrews?
Yeah. The only reason I picked it because you gave me a nice little description, and you didn't do that for the other two.
What more than Mrs. What more
Thanks
than
for the
Mrs.
hint.
What more than Mrs. Robinson from The Graduate did you need?
Yeah.
I guess that was a little hint.
And then the description on the second one was, you haven't seen anything she's been in.
Yeah, that is a description.
Yeah.
But
you don't know
to me,
anybody.
the first one I was like, winkety wink.
There's no winking. I am a very neutral person in these games. Don't you come at my credibility. Anyway, Matthew, this was the first mainstream British film to do what? Show excess violence, be unrated, or show nudity?
Be unrated. Fuck.
Show excessive violence, be unrated, show nudity.
I don't remember that being much nudity in this. They just showed, like, to me, nudity is some TNA, but I don't remember seeing TNA. So I'm going to go excess violence. What? There was TNA? Did I miss
I don't
it?
remember there being violence or nudity in this movie.
I think they're referring to the nudity in the pictures that you kind of see, the views of with that guy who's
Oh.
and the fact that there was women in states of undress to a degree. That's what I
That's
believe
not
that's what they
nudity.
considered nudity in 1960. Daniel, people on TV shows and sitcoms didn't even sleep in the same
Oh,
bed
yeah.
in the 1960s.
Right, they also couldn't show a bathroom. It makes sense.
We saw some hot elbows and knees in this one.
my thought was that there was actual nudity, not implied or photographs.
Yeah, well,
But
use your brain, guys.
whatever.
All right, Daniel.
All right. Hit me up with some more elbows and knees.
How long did it take to film this movie? 4 weeks? 6 weeks? 12 weeks?
6 weeks. Lucky guess.
Shit, yeah, look at you. All right, Matthew. This film was pulled from British cinema due to its offensive nature after how many days? 5 days, 20 days, or it was never pulled?
It was never pulled. God fucking fuck.
You came in all cocky, too. This is just fucking karma coming right at you.
What's the 5 and what?
5 days, 20 days, it was never pulled.
5 days.
Damn, Daniel.
Coming in hot.
Insert damn Daniel right here.
Damn, Daniel.
I mean, yeah, I'm just shocked. All right, we'll do the last question. Daniel, what director has stated that this is one of their favorite films of all time? Martin Scorsese, John Carpenter, or Tim Burton?
John Carpenter.
Would you like to steal Matthew for some type of redeeming factor?
I mean, I'll try. What were the other?
Martin Scorsese, Tim Burton, John Carpenter.
Fucking go with Scorsese, I guess.
I mean, nice
Fucking
try.
Pity points.
No pity points. Look here, you guys are both winners in my mind.
Oh, I'm not upset because let's all recap season 1. I believe Daniel was like 3 up on me and I came back and spanked him. So
Yeah.
season ain't over.
I almost did it in season 2, but I didn't.
Exactly. That's like it's just the first
and there's
one.
like 85 movies in this season, so I gotta really keep track.
We got the scoreboard.
We
for
do
a
have the
reason.
scoreboard, and we do have the air table.
Good evening, Mark.
How did you?
The young man bathing himself brought me to your door. I managed the rest of the adventure alone. This is one room I expected to find locked.
I was never allowed keys. Can't get used to them. I brought her home early.
Thank you.
Okay, so now that Questions of the Damned is over, we have a slightly new but kind of old segment.
New?
New? We haven't even told
Yeah, why wouldn't you fucking spring this shit on me?
for this reaction alone. Because if you hate
Jesus
it,
Christ.
you are less inclined to be 100% dickhole on the air. If you love it, then everybody's coming up Millhouse. It's the recommendation section of the show. So we have upgraded our end of the show opinion about the movie to a new segment called Yay, Nay, or Slay. Let's look at his face. He's wearing a goddamn taco hat. I can't tell.
I mean, I don't hate it.
Exactly. All right. We're good.
He's good.
I was a little
I was
sweaty.
really hoping he'd be like, Slayer.
Slayer. Insert guitar
Too
riff
tired
of
to scream Slayer.
Okay, so the first two options are fairly obvious. Yay if you like the movie and aren't mad about it that you took the time out of your day to watch it. Nay, not a huge fan of it, but you're not overly upset that you saw it. It's just kind of whatever. You saw it. Slay is you wish this movie was dead and you never watched it ever. So, I'll go first since it was my segment. Actually, I'd like to give a quick shout out to a couple of podcasts with the same host, Jack from Pop Apothecary and Hannibalism. She actually came up with the name of that show. She suggested it because I needed an idea. She suggested it. So if you like the show Hannibal, check out Hannibalism. If you like pop culture in all forms, check out Pop Apothecary. So anyway, moving on. So for me, I would give this movie a yay. I was happy that I watched it. I can see why it's considered the first slasher film. Obviously, it came out right before Psycho, so they're kind of neck and neck. Most people considered Psycho the first slasher film for a lot of different reasons, mainly I think because of its popularity and all that stuff. There's a dancing taco hat in my view, so
I'm very, very tired.
I know you are. But I know it's a yay for me. I really enjoyed it. I would definitely watch it again. If it was on my TV, I would not be mad. So Daniel, what do you think?
I'm going to give it a yay. And
A yay.
the reason for the yay is because I thought for this one being one of the first horror films, it had pretty cool camera angles and different stuff like that. They really did a really good job on like lighting and other stuff.
Yeah, I did love that. I did love the lighting.
Giving it a different perspective of watching a movie of this nature. So I liked it on that alone.
Yeah, I did actually. That was something I forgot to comment on. I really loved like the vibrance of the colors and just the cinematography of the whole film. But yeah, so yay, a double yay for me. What about you,
Yeah.
Taco Hat?
I would probably go with a nay.
Shocker of the century.
But
You negative
for it being
bitch.
considered like the first can I finish? For this being considered like the first ever slasher movie, I'm not upset that I watched it, but it's really fucking slow.
Yeah.
And yes, there are some cool parts and you can kind of see how it paved the way, but I'm never going to go out of my way to watch this movie again.
He deleted it off my own Plex.
I don't even want Erika to have it. It's how much I didn't. It's not that I hated it. It's just that I just don't think it's. I don't think I'll ever watch it again.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, that is our answers. That is the first episode of season 3 of Monster Madness Slasher. I couldn't come up with anything more creative than that. It's this fucking slasher episode.
If
or
you made
genre.
it this long to season 3, we thank you.
We do thank you because you went through a lot with us. Just think about it as a journey with all of us.
Journey.
Is that a song?
No, it's like a
It's a band.
It is, but I didn't know if he was like coming up with a song and like we had another new segment.
To me, it looked like he was having a stroke.
There's that too. So if you want to watch what we are going to cover next time, we are, as you can probably guess, going to tackle the 1960 film Psycho by Alfred Hitchcock.
Woohoo!
Next time.
You said cock.
Not like you would know what that is. Boom! Bye!
And we're out.